Okay, so just discussing your channel, the whole premise of your channel when we were talking before, right? It's just generally just experimenting, right? But you guys don't really have an idea of like where to take the channel. But why don't you just take the idea and just snowball it? Like if you guys just want to experiment, I'm talking like why don't you guys just go do different things? Like for most people, what I find and like I find myself in the same situation is like we don't really know where to go and what to do exactly in life, and we're just kind of looking for it. But really, the only reason we don't know exactly why it's because we don't have enough experiences just yet, right? Like we haven't experienced enough things.
Do you follow anyone or like watch anyone?
No one specific.
Okay.
No one specific. I just look and watch a lot of things, right?
Hmm.
It's just a lot of learning. Like for me, life is just one giant learning experience, right? So you just experiment with everything, and for me, it's the same way. I just experiment with lots of things. So, like recently, I've just been following like getting into hobbies, like bringing back old hobbies, that stuff I haven't done in like years.
So like what kind of stuff are you into?
Well, I got into airsoft recently, right? I got into airsoft in the last year in 2017, but yeah, I got into airsoft, but kind of actually funny story with airsoft. Like when I first got into airsoft, I actually broke my ankle within like the first like 6 months of playing.
So airsoft is just for like, are you talking about like guns and stuff? Like
Yeah, like paintball.
yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, airsoft's like paintball,
But
essentially. But you shoot
have, like,
BBs.
but you have like games where
Yeah,
like,
you have games. You just play. It's like basically any places now that where they do paintball generally do airsoft as well.
Oh really?
Yeah, airsoft is like to describe it, it's more realistic than paintball. You know what I mean?
So,
Like
but if you get hit, it's like an honor
yeah,
system.
yeah, it's an honor system. You just call it out. But generally, you don't want to get hit because you know you got hit.
Does it hurt more than paintball?
No, not more than paintball. Paintball leaves large welts, and airsoft I find just like
Because I've only done
like
paintball. I never
You know,
done
you know, airsoft. It's really fun. We should all go out and try sometime.
You think so?
Yeah. Just trying different things, right? Like I don't know what kind of hobbies you guys have.
Yeah, so I mean, like, this goes back to the Nig-Nag thing and why we changed and all that stuff. Is like, we tried to run out of the gates with Nig-Nag, like, we're trying to be like IGN. That was the original thing, right? Like, something like that, like, do reviews and trailers and all that stuff. And that was like, Brat had this idea when he was a kid to have a website like that. That was his dream. And then we had a guy that worked on the website for us, so it just seemed to kind of, that's what he wanted. For me, that was never, like, the end goal. I was never, like, super... Like, it was a cool side thing, maybe, or like...
But you weren't into doing like reviews or...
Yeah, no, like, I love doing all that stuff and whatever, but it wasn't like the core. It's kind of like sports or something. It's like I like playing sports and all that stuff, right? But I don't want to be... I'm not going to be a pro player. Like, I'm not going to work. I'm not going to train every day to be a fucking professional...
Yeah,
whatever.
You're not going to take it like that
Yeah,
serious
but I love
to
it.
that
I
level.
love
Yeah,
it,
but you
though.
like it.
Like, I love it, though, right? So, I mean, I like doing IGN type stuff, like reviews and all that stuff, so I thought... It was a good place it was a good outlet. Like, this is where all this came from, is for me at least, was Nig-Nag, and this website and whatever was a good like outlet for me, because I always wanted to do creative, probably where you're at right now, is I always wanted to do all these different things, but I just didn't have an outlet for it. So it's like I try to like draw sometimes because I like drawing, but like I wasn't very good or whatever. So
I tried that too, but
yeah,
I wasn't very
like,
good at it.
Like, but I mean,
I thought I'd like it though. I thought it was cool.
Like, it takes
right?
practice and it takes like a lot of time and effort, but like with no like structure, it's kind of difficult, right? And I mean, like for me, I noticed Nig-Nag, because there's other people involved, I felt like there was structure, but although it was a structure that I realize now that I imposed on myself, because I mean, Brat's not a very structured guy, and then Bane's the other guy that was doing the
website.
By
structure exactly.
So I mean, like, having a schedule, having certain deadlines, having certain things we do, like very specific things, days, times
like,
we meet up.
Okay, goals and
right,
things
goals
like that.
and stuff like that.
Kind of structure,
right?
Okay.
Like, whereas like with them, it was like Baines is so Baines was the guy that did the website. Baines was always busy with other stuff. Brat's a very like haphazard guy. It's because like, and to me, I think that's a lot of that's due to he works graveyards 40 hours a week, right? So I can see why. And I find this with a lot of other my friends that have like long 40, 50 hour weeks, is that outside of work, they don't, like, whatever they want to do at any given time, they're going to do it. Whether they're like, oh, I just feel like doing nothing today because I'm tired, right? Like, or like, let's go out and drink or whatever, right? Like, they're not as structured outside of work because work has to be work's so demanding for them.
Yeah.
So Brat,
I totally understand that though. Yeah, same thing.
Right. So I'm sympathetic to that, right? So
Yeah.
I mean,
How
Brat,
about for you then?
Well, let me finish. Is that Brat, like, I understand how he's less, like, even though his graveyards, he doesn't do a lot on his shift, it's demanding physically because it's a graveyard, and then the rest of his days he's like after he gets off work, he's sleeping throughout the whole day, and then he has to go back to a graveyard. So like outside of that, I can see why he's less structured. So for me, like I have a lot of time and like freedom. Like I don't work that much at the desk, right? So I mean, and then at the desk, like I have a lot of time to do the stuff that I want to do, and it's not taxing on me physically because I get to sleep a normal schedule, right? So I have a lot of time. Like I have a lot of freedom in that sense. So I mean, I don't know if it's my upbringing or whatever, but naturally I do prefer like structured things, right? So with them, back with the knick-knack and all that stuff, I would try to be like, well, we set like a days. Like I feel like that came from me is where I'm like, we should meet every whatever and have a meeting, right? And like I remember so many times where every time I'd show up, they'd be kind of like joking around, but like when I showed up for a meeting, I'd be kind of like, okay, like, can we just be serious for like 20 minutes and like do this meeting? And then I'll joke around like all day after. I don't care. Like I'll joke around forever. It's as long as we just have this meeting first, get the business done first, right? Yeah. Like same thing with like the day we like launched Knick-Knack was like I showed up and then they were like they had like champagne and we were just kind of dicking around. And then like I actually kind of got annoyed. I was kind of like, okay, we're like launching. Like you guys hyped it like we're launching. You told everybody and hyped it like we're fucking launching this huge thing. Like shouldn't we be like in the like making sure everything's on point, like checking the website, like making sure we're uploading stuff, having a plan of what's going to happen next week and all this stuff. And then I kind of went off on them a little bit and they're kind of like, yeah, that makes sense, right? So I mean that's just kind of the guy I've always been, is that I like...
Well, that's
like,
the business half of it.
Right, I mean, and I think that's kind of needed, like that's important. But at the same time right now with this new thing, guys making videos, I know it can't be... Since it's like you're like pointing this out too, is that it's an experimental stage.
Yeah,
because like
it's just all learning.
So we're not tunneling right now, which I think is important, which is the difference between Knick-Knack and guys making videos, is we're not trying to be anything specifically, which contradictory, like, is not the most efficient way to make a business, right? The most efficient way to make a business is tunnel, find a niche, and then specialize.
But you don't know what it is just yet. And that's the thing.
And that's exactly what it is, right? And that's why like I had this talk with my dad the other day with Brat there too, where my dad was like, I don't really see... And same thing with Zach, he was even saying like it seems like guys making videos is very kind of no direction or whatever, but it's because like we don't have... I don't know what we're playing yet. Like I don't know what game we're playing. Like I don't know what we're doing like yet. Like so we have to figure out what we like doing, right? So right now, so for example, so me and Sim are writing this web series, and then we're going to try shooting it next month because we're pretty much done all the scripts. So there's that. We're going to try to do the web series. Brad, I kind of left him to the seeing doubles because I don't really... He has his way of doing it that he wants to do it, or like, which is just his whatever haphazard way. Because I've always been... So like from the beginning, I've always been trying to drag Brad into my way of like structure and stuff, and like these many episodes and whatever. And he's always very like optimistic. I'm like at the beginning of the month, I was like, how many seeing doubles can you get out? And like,
but what you're saying is like he's more loose with his work than you are.
Yeah, I mean he's just kind of like I attribute it to, like I said, like him being like not having a lot of energy outside of work or whatever, or like willpower, just because work takes so much out of him, despite what he thinks. That's just my opinion. So when he feels like working on it, he works on it. When he doesn't, he doesn't. So I'd like him to have a set, like we have these many, and like I said, like having goals, you can even set them like not as like optimistic as he is. Just be like, okay, I want at least one episode a month, so he can at least have a day where he like for sure is gonna release one episode, right? But even that, like he likes, when I ask him that stuff, he's more like, I can get like 4 episodes out, like I know I can do it. I'm like, I get that. There's that. That's totally fine. I get the optimism, but at the same time, like so far, like we've just been releasing old episodes, but like again, like this is why I kind of left him to seeing double, because I don't like, he wants to do it the way, whatever I say, he agrees with almost everything I say, but when he does, he doesn't put it into action or everything. He enjoys the talks, but like when he does it, he doesn't really whatever. He doesn't do it the way I would like him to do it, I guess. So like I just kind of left him to, which is fine. Like I want everybody to have like their own, to be the producer of their own thing, right? So this web series, I'm giving Sim more freedom with that too, because I know that's something that's important to him, right? Like I don't want to step in and be like, this is how
freedom and creativity.
Exactly, right? So this is right now, we're still in the playground stage where we're just figuring out what sports we like to play, for if we want to use that analogy.
Yeah.
Right? But I mean, for me, like I still have to figure out what exactly I want to do. For me, I'm really into the web series right now, but I mean,
what's the web series about?
So it's kind of like The Office. It's kind of like, but it's about us being at the front desk.
Okay.
So like I think that's gonna be really funny and we're kind of like taking a lot of the experience that we used from the skits and stuff. So I mean, I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. That's like the most hype thing in my head right now of stuff we're working on. But I don't know what you said you're into a bunch of stuff and you have ideas all the time. Is there anything specifically you want to work on or anything you want to like? Because I'm always down to like work with people that want to work and do stuff. Like for example, there's this guy that used to go to the gym. I won't name him, but he wanted to like do he wanted to do more like that IGN Nignag type stuff where we do like podcasts about stuff. Like game related and like because that guy was very into the industry, like he knows the game industry very well, like he knows the names and he knows like what's coming out and all the rumors and all that stuff. But I mean like I know he's like super busy with work and stuff like that, and like I should probably contact him and see if he's still willing to do stuff, but at the same time like if you don't put in the work, like it's and same thing with there's another girl that wanted to do this kind of like relationship kind of podcasty kind of whatever show. So I was helping her with that, but I mean, like, she's also really busy with work, and also I think she's just enjoying life, like, being in her 20s, and but she has a boyfriend, and, you know, she's just doing other stuff, which is fine. It's just that you have to be realistic about the results that you're going to get out of it, right? You can't just do it once whenever you feel like it, right? Like, again, like you're saying, you need consistency, right?
Yeah,
like,
you need consistency.
and I think that's the most important thing is consistency, to be honest with you, like, in my opinion, right? Is you just keep doing. It's all about the doing. Right?
It's all
like
about
you can strategize all you want, but it's if you don't do anything, it doesn't matter.
That's right. You can't just keep it all in your head, man. You gotta keep putting affirmative action, even if it's just little stuff. Right? It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah,
just
always.
keep going. Just keep going. Just keep going. Keep rolling.
But I think it's also good. Like I think I need to think more. I feel like I need to think more like long term too sometimes though, like have an end goal and then reverse engineer and kind of think of like, okay, what do I want what do I want at the end of this, or like what's the end goal, and then work backwards and figure out how to get there.
Well, what's the question? Who do you want to be?
I mean, I like for a while there, I really liked the idea of, I don't know if you know what Funhouse is. Like Funhouse, whatever. It's like Achievement Hunter Funhouse. Basically, they're those guys that play games together and they just post videos of them playing games together. And they're basically like Seeing Double. Like Seeing Double takes after Funhouse.
Oh, okay.
Very much so. So it's just that, but like they do it better than we do, is all. And that's kind of like our inspiration for, because they have you know they make a living off like doing those types of videos. So I mean, there's that was what we kind of aspired to from the Nignag stage with Seeing Double and all that stuff. But at the same time, like I know what's really close to my heart with in terms of like creating stuff is always been like, I don't know if you, I don't know, I feel like I talk about this way too much, but you probably never heard me say this. But in school, when I learned about film and all that stuff, they made us do music videos. And like those were like really fun to do. So I mean, like I've always been fascinated with like storytelling, especially when it involves like music. So I had this idea, like I was talking to Steven about this, is that like if I were to somehow like transcribe or like adapt like animes into like audio form, and it would just be like kind of like it'd be very close to an audiobook, but we would involve we would put in the music and like more sounds, because Steven knows like sound, right? Like Steven knows music and sound design and stuff like that. So I thought that'd be like a really cool project. But I mean, I feel like because I wanted to do like one, adapt, and then two, also write my own thing.
Sounds like you're gonna work for Disney.
Disney? Why would I work for Disney? Why Disney?
Well, sound, music, and animation telling a story.
Yeah.
Sounds like a Disney movie.
Oh, I guess so. No, but I mean without animation though, it would be purely audio.
Just purely audio.
I just think that because like I'm a believer that audio is like on the rise right now, like podcasts and all that stuff. Because I started listening to podcasts, and I can see what the value is that you can do what I can work out, and I can drive, and I can like do. You can be doing other things. It's more of a passive consumption, so you don't. You know what I mean? Like a movie or like a book, you have to like sit down and like it takes more out of you. But audio is like, because right now, I mean, everybody needs time, right? Like everybody wants time, and audio saves that, right? Is that you can drive and you can fucking do whatever you want. You can work out and you can listen to an audiobook.
Essentially you just have it going in the background.
Yeah, so I mean, I think podcasts are on the rise. So I mean, like that's kind of where my head was at with that. But I mean, that's like a project that I think I'm just going to put on the back burner a little bit for now, just because I want to focus on this web series. Because I know writing it was really fun, and I'm really glad with our progress and blah, blah, blah. But I mean, actually shooting it is going to be like, we talked about this, like production, right? Is like, because they're like, oh, what are we going to do for audio? Like, can we use the lapel mics, or can we at least put the H4? So that's the H4, the recorder we're using.
Mm-hmm.
Can we put the H4 somewhere? And then I'm like, no, I don't really, I just want to use the shotgun mic on the camera right now, because it's like, we've never shot, like we've done skits, but we've never shot like a show in this way before. And like from everything, like just, I feel like, because I have, like, out of all of us, maybe actually me and Zach have the most experience in terms of like producing things with equipment and technical, like whatever. And there's just always issues. Like, there's always issues. And like you said, like, that's just production, right? It's like, there's always going to be things that, like, for some reason, like, Zach's H4, like, his memory card didn't work. Sometimes the wire, you need to, like, switch the wire even though it's the same fucking wire. And it's just, like, stupid things just always happen. Like, I don't even know how. Like, I don't know how this shit happen. Or sometimes, like...
That's life, man.
Yeah, it's just...
That's life.
But it's always, like, production. There's always issues. There's always fucking issues. So I was like, okay, just for this first, like... couple episodes at least, like I just want to keep it like as smooth as possible, because things are going to come up anyway. So I want to just be like shotgun mic on the camera, that's it. Like, I don't want to work, because lapel mics, we're going to like trust the lapel mics, and then like, first of all, the ones we have, they're super sensitive, so I have to put them like here, because if they're here, it's going to peak way too hard. Right, so we have to like somehow put it, and then we have to hide it somehow, and then also, what if we're moving? It's going to ruffle, and there's a few scenes where we're moving too, so I don't know how well that's going to work. Meanwhile, we have to sync the audio after we record it with different sources. What if we have 3 people? We only have 2 lapel mics right now. You know what I mean? And then, like, with this, where are we going to put that every time we move the scene? We have to replace that and then hide it again and then sync the audio. You know, like, there's just things where it's like, I want to just keep it simple. And also, like, you know, it doesn't really matter for now, right? Like, for now, I don't think it's the core of that type of show, like The Office, is really just, like, the dialogue and then the cuts to, like, expressions.
Yeah.
That's like the core of it, right? It'd be different if it was like Brat was talking about, like, cinematography and like how we're gonna shoot it. Whereas like I love cinematography and I'm all like about execution and stuff like that. Hence, like,
it gets a little complicated though with production.
Definitely, like, and that's why I like the music videos and stuff like that, right? But the heart of it, so conversely, the heart of a music video is the cinematography. It's where you're shooting it on, because there's no dialogue. It's just music, right?
That's right.
But that's different from this show, right? The show is, the core of it is the dialogue and the faces and stuff like that. But as long as you get the faces, the cinematography is not like, there's no like crazy cinematographic shots in like The Office, right? Because it's not about that, right?
No.
So I mean, that's just something that we're talking about. I mean, this is just all like behind the scenes stuff, but I don't know. Was there anything like specific that you were thinking of doing? I mean, because like I said, I'm willing to work with anybody who wants to work, right?
Well, just going with structure, it seems like you there's certain things that you want to move
well,
the channel
I mean, like,
towards,
what did
right?
you want to do? Like, did you want to join us and do something with us, or did you want to like, did you have any ideas for yourself that do you have anything that you want to try, or you said you're in an experimenting stage?
I'm experimenting too. I just, you know, I always wanted to produce content and always wanted to do like stuff like this, right? Like, well, videos, but never really got into it, to be honest. But, you know, just experiment. I always thought it was interesting, and I just see you guys doing it, just seeing what you guys are up to. Right?
Did you want to like do anything with us?
Yeah, just
collab.
Collab, do a couple episodes, maybe just do stuff for fun.
Like, what kind of stuff did you want to do? Like,
well, you guys are experimenting. Why don't you guys do a? Well, it seems like you want to take the channel and move it towards doing web series.
No, I don't want to take the channel. So what the channel is to me, and I think this is actually important for a lot of people that are curious, at least like my dad and like certain people that are like, what happened between Nignac and Guys Making Videos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is that like Guys Making Videos is more of like the personal brand, I suppose, which I'm hesitant to use that because it's like I don't feel like we have enough experience or whatever, like any, like in order to make a personal brand, I think that you need to have experience and like merits to be like, okay, I deserve to be listened to. And that's what I was kind of saying to them. This is what the conversation was after the podcast, was that I was like, yeah, like we had an okay discussion about like YouTube and its changes, for example. That's what the podcast was about. But I mean, at the same time, like we don't have a lot of experience doing, like, I don't know, we're not like a big YouTuber. We're not like, you know, we're not like super, we don't have a lot of success in any of the things we've done yet. We're still at such a baby stage. We're at like the very beginning.
So with branding,
right?
Do you consider it just for like with history and with, say, popularity? Is that
well,
what
I mean,
you're
like,
going to call branding?
It's kind of like, so what I'm saying is I don't feel like we deserve to have like a personal brand yet. Like we haven't done anything yet, right?
You haven't put in the work yet.
Yeah, like we haven't put in the work yet and we have no merits. Like it's kind of like speaking to like the experience of basketball when you haven't won a championship and you're just like you're literally like in high school and just like you have no, you know what I mean. So it's kind of hard for me to like say like I'm gonna take the channel somewhere or whatever. Right now, guys making videos we're just a bunch of dudes, and like this is just the name under which we go, I guess, right? Because it's nice to have like a group of guys and then have a name. It feels like a team, kind of.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, I don't want to take it. I don't want to come across like the way we did with Nignag, as though we're like some big whatever, right? Because we're not, right? We're just a bunch of dudes just trying shit out, right? So I mean, that's where like I'm coming.
But
from
again,
that.
this is all just a show, though, right? If you like with Nignag, even like with you guys not launching it and everything, it didn't seem like it was such a huge thing. To me, the channel just seems like it was just a for fun thing, right? Even with guys making videos now, it seems like kind of the same thing.
I wanted to start as that, definitely, because I think I would argue a lot of times that that's where like the passion and like the enjoyment comes from, right? Is it starts with the fun and then you go, you're right. But I mean, eventually, yeah, like, I mean, I think I already know, I have a good direction within my own head of where I want to take, like, I know what I like and I know what I don't like, right? Like, I found that, like, seeing double, like, I enjoy it a lot and whatever, but the amount of effort it takes versus the output of what happens, like, the end result isn't proportional to me. Like,
How much effort does it really take?
Like, a seeing double episode takes, like 10 hours maybe, like, because it's just we film for an hour and then we watch it over and over again the first time, like, so the first step is watch it fully and then make cuts between like the stuff that's like pauses where we don't talk a lot, or just the crappy jokes, or just the stuff that like useless stuff, but also like you have to watch the whole episode because you have to know what jokes you have, right? Because let's say the whole episode you only have like a bunch of like 6 out of 10 jokes, then you have to keep the 6 out of 10 jokes, right? But if you watch the whole thing, you're like, oh, okay, we have some 8s and 9s. Okay, I can take out the 6 and 10s, like 6 out of 10s, right? So I mean, you have to watch. So that's the first step, is cutting out the stuff that you don't need, right? And that usually takes like at least 2 to 3 hours, I'd say. And then from there, like, it used to be that Brad did that part, and then he would hand it off to me, and then I would do my own quick, hopefully like an hour or less of watching it and then cutting my own thing, and then it would then even more like the most taxing or like the most effort would be after that, I'd say, when you have to do the editing, which is like, okay, how am I going to make these jokes even funny? Because you can make some jokes that aren't that funny like really funny through the editing, so with like the zoom ins and then the photoshops and whatever. So that takes another like 3 hours, and then like the end, it's always like, I don't know, there's I can't remember who said this, but there's always like people say it's like the 80% or the 90% of a project always is the easiest part. It's the last 10% that just takes forever because you're trying to like perfect it and all that stuff. But I mean, what I've been saying to everyone and like with these things is that, like, especially like Zach and Brad, I feel, just as a general thing, not like I'm imposing it or anything, but like when you make things, like it's like, what's the thing? It's like speed is more important than perfection. It's like, just put it out, like just finish it. Like there should be a deadline, and that's why deadlines are important, where it's like, okay, we're just posting it. Like we're just posting it. We'll move on to the next one, and we'll get better over time by doing more of them. Whereas like if you're perfecting that one, you're not gonna get that much better by perfecting that one, right?
Yeah, that's right.
It's about the reps.
It's about how many times you
exactly
can keep going. You learn every time.
Yeah, exactly. Like you'll get better over time, right? Just move
right.
on. Which is kind of why like I was arguing with Brad about like and you probably saw this, how he's re-releasing our old episodes, and he's like fixing them up and re-releasing old episodes. But like to me, I'm like, I don't know, it doesn't do that much. Like I don't think they're that. I honestly don't. I feel like it's a little bit of a wasted effort to me. It's nice to re-upload them and have them, whatever. But I feel like he's spending a lot of time doing it. But I think, I don't know why. I mean, like maybe it's because I know he really likes the old episodes, but like I would just prefer him to work on the new episodes and just keep, like we were saying, is just keep doing more reps, right? Like just keep making more episodes, like new episodes always just keep doing new shit, like new shit every day. Right, but I don't know. Again, like I left him to Seeing Double, so I mean he could do what he wants with it. But
that's my opinion for just general content in YouTube, right? Like if you're not putting out like content consistently, it's just not gonna get out there, man.
Absolutely,
you know what I mean?
But again, this is that step I think is still a little bit away from, because we're still in the playground stage. But once we figured out what we like doing, and then even then building a following or whatever, then like even like. I feel like it would take a while before we have to actually start focusing on like having a consistent thing. I would prefer if we did, right? Like the goal at the beginning of the year, like I told everybody, was like, I don't care what we're fucking putting out. as long as you're putting shit out.
Yeah.
Right. But again, like even that's a struggle too, right? I mean, like this month was rough because like, and they're all like legitimate excuses and whatever. Like I totally understand. Like Brad, like his hot water tank like exploded or whatever, so we had to replace that. And then they also had like a leak in the walls that they didn't, because they replaced the tank, and then nothing. They still didn't fix anything, so they had to like go in the walls, and like that took like that costs money and time too.
Yeah.
Right. And then meanwhile he's working his graveyard, so they have to pay for that, and then he has to pay for the property tax now because his mom can't afford it or whatever. Like all these things, all these bills and time and effort like stack up for him. Meanwhile Zach is like doing his, so I don't know if you know, Zach has his own comic book thing. He has his own thing going on with comic books. Like he's making a comic and they do music. Okay. So him and his team, they're doing a bunch of other stuff. So like this is kind of secondary to him, because that's his thing, right? So Zach, they're trying to launch in February. So he's been really busy. And then there's just, I don't know. And then Sim was always never like 100% in because he has work too. Like he works 40, 50-hour weeks. So again, like he's kind of like, when he doesn't have work, he's kind of like, he wants to do whatever. So he shows up though. Like he shows up and does stuff, right? But I mean, it's hard when everybody's kind of like whatever. But again, like those are just excuses, right? Like at the end of the day, it's like, if you're committed, you're committed. Like if it's, and that's why it's so hard to like make it, is because the people that have all these problems, the people that make it, even if they have them, they'll still make content. They'll do it either way.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why they break through, because it's that hard, right? To like, okay, you're fucking had a whatever 10-hour day,
that's
and you're
what
dead,
it takes to make it.
and
though,
you just,
here,
and that's why
want
so few people make it, right? Because it's hard to fucking pump out a video after like 10 hours of work and you're dead. Right.
Yeah,
I mean, but that's why it's so hard to make it, and that's why they do make it, is because they have the energy to do it still, because they love it, right? And that's why, like, again, that's why it has to be something that you love.
Yeah, it takes perseverance too.
Of course, but
commitment.
I mean, I think it's important that you love the thing too, right? Because outside of like a 10-hour workday, like it's hard to go and do like more work after that, like if you hate it, right? So I mean, it's important that you actually like it.
You really
right?
like it, yeah.
So I mean, that's why like I'm saying this is that playground stage to find what you actually like doing, right? But again, that takes the effort, right? Like you have to actually try to find it by trying to do stuff, which again, it goes back to the doing. But I mean, like, what did you? I was just curious what you wanted, because I thought this conversation was going to be like we would think about stuff that we could collab on, like stuff you wanted to do with us, or like. But
I just wanted to talk about your channel in general and just your general ideas on where you wanted to take it. But
you don't want to like collab. You want to do something, man.
Yeah, let's go play airsoft sometime. Or I actually got into gunpla building recently too, and I used to do that years ago.
Gunpla?
You know, like
my buddy makes a lot. Like he used to do a lot of. He has like all the Gundams, like the master grades.
Yeah.
He has a ton of master grades, and then a couple perfect grades. But like, he's just all in it. So is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Building Gundams.
Yeah, building Gundams.
Are you into the master grade scene? Are you all about
the
master grades?
Anything and everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Just master grades and real grades are sick.
Dude, they're nice.
Yeah.
They take a long time though.
real grades I think are easier though, right? Because they give you the skeleton and then you just put the. Have you had a real grade before?
I haven't tried.
The real grades are really good because they're only like $20-$30, and then we're talking about Gundams.
Yeah.
But anyway, like they give you like the robot frame.
Yeah.
And then you just put the pieces on, like you build. That's how you build it, as opposed to like like master grades. You have to build it.
Yeah, you
scratch.
have to build the frame.
Like each
and everything.
each like parts, but
Yeah.
like this one, like I think the real grades they give you like the frame of, it's like a robot frame, and then you put the parts on top, which is a little easier. But the detail on them is ridiculous for like $20-$30. Like that's insane. But yeah, I mean, like I don't know. You said you were into video stuff because that's just where that's where like I specialize in, or like that's the one skill that I have right now, because I don't even know how to use like After Effects, but I use Adobe Premiere. And I mean, like I could show you some video stuff, but I don't know if you had, like you said, you always had ideas. I mean, like what are some things that you, I don't know, were interested in doing? Maybe like, do you have any ideas for anything?
I just wanted to experiment with you for a little bit with your videos, just in general.
You just want to like join in?
Yeah, just join in just to see what's up.
Okay, cool.
Like, well, you guys are just in the experimentation stage, right? I just want to show you guys a couple of things too. Just, maybe get you guys interested in just some things that are maybe different, right, than you're used to doing, or even bothered to even try. Right?
Like what?
Just other hobbies in general, right? Well, what other hobbies do you do other than trying to make content and going to work out? Because it's what I do too, right? But I try to fit in other things. Well, try to do different things.
Like, do you make content? Like, do you like make videos, or do you make, like?
Oh, for a little while there, I was shooting airsoft videos, just like having like helmet cam and just going out and shooting, right, and doing that stuff for a little bit.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but it's kind of hard shooting when you're not in it's raining out and stuff like
Oh,
that,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
It can be a little bit miserable when you're playing out there during wet weather, right? But,
So where do you go?
There's a place called Panther Airsoft in Surrey, so I go there.
Oh, that's cool. So they only do airsoft?
You do airsoft and paintball.
And paintball?
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, man. We should
We should go out, get some body cams, get some footage.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, just randomly, just for an episode, just to try out, right? Just, just try different things because you're in an experimentation stage still, right? Like, you don't know exactly what you guys want to do, right? But, but it seems like you have a web series going already and script written already for that, right? So
yeah, we'll see how that goes. Like, I'm super stoked for it, but again, like I said, I'm fully ready for, like, production issues, as always. But, I mean, yeah, like, I guess we could... I know, I'm so reluctant to, like, take the reins on Seeing Double again or whatever, or, like, try to, like, step into that, but that is something that we've all... It's kind of, like, close to our hearts because that was, like, the first thing that we all got together to do. I don't know.
But what about that exactly scares you? Like, because I know you see the end goal. I know you see the end goal, but...
The only thing that scares me is that it's Brat's thing, too, and I just don't work well with the way he works with... Like, how he works, I don't work like that.
Oh, you want to just structure stuff like...
So, for example, we had a lot of conversations about... Like, we talk about it all the time, and then that's why I've kind of backed off from it, because it's like... I was like, okay, are we... Like, okay, we drink, we're playing games, and we're making jokes. Those are the three things, right? So... Like, if we're drinking, and this is very much my opinion too, right? Yeah. This isn't whatever, right? But if we're drinking, I think it's funnier if, like, we try to drink more and we have more set rules so that we get more drunk, and then we actually stay strict about being drunk, like drinking when we have the rules, like, so that the end goal would be like we're getting fucking sloshed, so it's hilarious because we're drunk. But if we're doing that, I don't want to do it every week because I'm not going to get fucking sloshed every week. And you see that with Funhouse and those guys I was telling you about, is they do those drunk gameplays, but they do them like once every couple months because it's taxing, right? Like, you can't, like,
that's a lot.
To get like drunk every week is too much, right? So there's that approach, right? Or we can do like the more like jokes and whatever and stuff like that, I guess, like which in Funhouse they do demo discs, so people send them in like old demo discs of like shitty games, so it's funny because the games are shitty. And then they just make fun of the game, so it's mostly jokes. So it's more focused around that. So then it's like, okay, then we should be paying a little bit more attention to the game then, to make fun of the game. And then you can start thinking about what kinds of games are we playing now, right? Because it's like, you can... I don't know if you can make some fun of, like, AAA games and stuff like that, but, like, you have to just... It takes a lot more of, like, what games are you actually playing. The demo disc one, obviously they're not thinking that much because people send them in discs, but they're all, like, kind of old, shitty, like...
Well, they're all 2000s
games. Yeah, like, they're all random.
They're all random.
Like, kind of like 2D sometimes. Like, sometimes it's just a mixed bag, right?
Yeah.
But that, we have to, like... I feel like we'd have to focus more on, like, getting better with jokes and then paying attention, relating it. But, like, right now, like, I don't know, it just kind of feels really haphazard because it's just whatever. Like, we just kind of... Which, to be fair, I also see it working this way, right? Because, like, his argument is, like, well, if you drink a little bit, you're a little bit more loose and you're more whatever, and then we can be more funny, which is, like, some of our episodes are actually hilarious because we're, like, more drunk and we make more jokes. Some of them we don't drink as much, but we're still funny or whatever. So I get that. But, I mean, a lot of it, too, is consistency, and, there isn't a lot of it, like, which isn't his fault by any means, like, for a lot of it, too, right? Because that's, like, sometimes people can't show up or whatever. But also, like, sometimes just preparation stuff, too. It's like we should prepare the game beforehand and whatever, which we don't always do, which is a running joke on the show as well sometimes, where it's like we don't prepare the game, the controller's not charged, or, like, the setup, and all this stuff, right? So, I mean, like, I would be totally willing to take all that stuff or whatever, but at the same time, like, maybe not, because it's not something like I'm super into, like I was saying too, right? Like, editing and all that stuff is like, I'm not sure if I'm that into it or whatever, but I mean, it'd be different if I was fully producing the show, like, whatever, but I know he has his things that he wants to do for it.
How would it be different? It's still a lot of work because, well, it seems like to me, the editing part, that last 10% is the most difficult part for you. Right, so even if you had full control over exactly how you wanted to do it, I still think it would still be difficult for you.
Well, I mean,
you'd see it as work.
It definitely would be difficult, but I mean, like, the way I would solve. So, for example, I was talking to him about this again, like, how to make it easier for yourself. For example, like, Saudi, Brat's little brother doesn't like editing, we found, which is an important thing to figure out, right? Because he was doing a Minority Report, which is his challenges, whatever. He did some videos where they do stupid challenges. I don't know if you saw those ones where they like eat marshmallows and eat gross food and whatever, and it's just funny. Those are great and whatever, but like he found like he doesn't enjoy editing videos very much, which is fine, right? Like because there's a lot of mediums where you don't have to edit, like Twitch streaming. You don't edit anything, right? You're just whatever, right? So
just streaming.
like Brat still likes editing and I still love editing, but it's a lot, right? So for example, one of the things I was talking about is like, okay, let's make shorter episodes, like as in film less time so we don't have to watch for an hour and cut down an hour, because an hour footage is a long time.
Yeah, that's a long time to edit a really long watch time, through, right? A couple of times.
So why don't we try to do like a 20-minute episode and then just try to work with that episode, and then the episodes might be shorter, but whatever, we'll get better over time and we'll get more jokes over time. So that'll make, and so there's that. Also, I was thinking like maybe even release like parts of an episode that way it doesn't like, we can like, because usually if it takes like a long time to release one episode just because it takes so much time. So let's say if we finish like the first like half, we can at least release that first half and then release the second half later or whatever, right? Like, just so that we have more content going and then you don't feel like such a slog between like the beginning and the end of production. But it's just working around that. Like I would find ways to do that. But again, like I think Brad because this is the first thing that Brad's ever like done production wise. So I know he's like fallen in love with it. Like this is his like first love, right? So it's like he pretty much, it's kind of like he likes the like, yeah, we just film for an hour and we edit all of it, and he just loves that. Like that's just the way we've done it before, and he's fallen in love with just doing that, I think. Like I'm probably exaggerating, it's probably not that bad, but I mean that's kind of what's been happening. And again, we haven't been that consistent with it, at least for this month, but I don't know. It's not like one of my like main things that I'm super stoked about, but it is that like first thing that we all got together to do. So it's like, I don't know. But I don't know, again, like I'm super excited about the web series. So that's the main thing that's on my mind right now. But I don't know.
If you want to keep doing double vision, just keep doing it. Just agree
Seeing
to
double?
a time and doing it. Yeah, or seeing double, sorry.
Well, I mean, see, like, I agree with that too. It's like, it's usually it's Saturday. Usually we try to meet up every Saturday to do that, seeing double. But I mean, again, like for whatever reason, like today, like one of Brad's close friends passed away, and then Zach has to take his car to the shop, and then Sim has work today. So like, it's just me, right? Like, so I mean, like, it's just life, right? And then again, like, this goes back to like, and I'm not saying that they should or shouldn't do this, but if there's a lot of people that would make the time outside of today, right? And like we would meet up another day to do it.
Yeah.
Right? But those are just priorities and those are commitments, right? So it's really just where your priorities are at. And I mean, like at the same time, like I know a lot of us are in that age where if our friends are going to ask us to hang out, like we want to hang out, right? Like, I mean, that's just a thing, right? Whereas a lot of people are willing to like sacrifice all of that, right? Like maybe I can't have like abs because I have to work on my stuff, right? Like there's a lot of things that you can just not do and do this instead. Right, like maybe you don't have to like eat for an hour. Maybe
what's priorities is what's more
right?
important
Like,
to you. Is
you
the work
could,
more important,
exactly,
or is
right?
eating
Like,
more important
like
to you?
Yeah, like you could just go to McDonald's and eat in 10 minutes.
Yeah,
and then do more work.
That's right.
You could.
Yeah.
Right, like there's a lot. You can always do stuff. In my opinion, that's just my like. You could always be doing more. But again, like it's all about the priorities, right? It's like, what do you want? Like a lot of people, like I enjoy eating and hanging out with my friends for an hour sometimes. Like sometimes I want to do those things, right? And I think a lot of that is the age that we're at too, right? But I mean, I know like at some point like we're gonna be like, oh, we need to like hunker down and whatever. That's what I hope is at some point whatever. Right? But
I think a lot of people are kind of have that, but
hoping
just,
that, right?
But yeah, hoping that, but
yeah.
I find most people around our age are just kind of like that. They're kind of hoping, but they're not really doing so much. Like not enough output. Like you know what I mean? Like yeah, just in general, like.
But the thing is, I would say that it's you don't have to be so hardcore about that. You just have to realize who you are, and it's like if you like those things.
Yeah, right? I say embrace it. If you really enjoy these things, go ahead.
Yeah, like you should do those things, right? So it's kind of like this goes back to when people like. I feel bad to say this, but like a lot of people say like they want to retire when they're 30. Like they think they're
everybody has that dream when they're in high school.
Like they're somehow they're gonna I don't know what they're gonna do, but they think they're gonna become like a VC or something, like a venture capitalist or invest in whatever and somehow they'll make a ton of money and then they can retire, be like super super financially stable by 30, and that's all fun, and they're like,
it happens.
their excuse, like, so a lot of them are like, oh well, then I'll get to travel because that's what I want to do, is I want to travel. And I'm like, you can travel now. Like, a lot of people, like, Brat makes the same money that I do. Like, I mean, like, he works the same job that I do, is what I'm saying. Like, he just works long hours and he just saves and then he travels. Like, you don't need to be a billionaire to travel. Like, you can travel if you want to travel. There's ways to do it, right? So that can't be really the excuse to me that you want to retire by 30 because you want to travel. If you want to travel, you can travel. To me, the, like, being 30 and well off and like whatever is that you can tell people and yourself and society and the people around you when you're at the dinner table or whatever that you made it, right? So if you're like whatever, a stockbroker or whatever, like, people at the table will be like, oh, that's a prestigious career because he's well off and he made a lot of money. So you can feel good about yourself and feel those insecurities that you have about society and whatever. I mean, this is just my opinion.
I think most Asian people just kind of agree. Wealth is money, and as long as you got enough of it, you can do what you want. Yeah, that's success and that's happiness. But in general, money, like they say, money's not that important, but also it's somewhere up there with oxygen, right?
It is. You need money to live.
You need money. Trade, like, money to me is a monetary trading tool. It's what you use to trade for food.
Yeah,
right?
No, I mean, you need money to live.
You need money to live. There's a living expense.
Absolutely.
Right?
I just think that people worry too much about, like, how much you make, right? Like, you could, like, it's kind of like Brad, like, him and I make, like, that same money. It's like, you could really tank it out and live on that. You could. It's doable, right? Like, and you can be happy if you want to. Like, happiness is a lot of it is a mindset to me, right? Like, you can be happy making a lot less money doing what you like doing.
Yeah, but it depends if you're going to be happy with that kind of lifestyle. For generally, what I find most people would really, what they're looking for is a certain type of lifestyle that they want to live.
But I would argue that lifestyle often is based on maybe insecurities. Like, that's just my opinion. It's like,
for a lot of people, what I see is that they associate that vacation life with being successful, but they want to live that vacation life forever. It's kind of like a honeymoon period in which you want to live the honeymoon period forever. You don't want to come back to reality, essentially.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I think there's something to be said about those people that travel, like, for a living and do, like, travel vlogs and stuff like that, because that's a cool lifestyle. Like, that's
a cool lifestyle.
I can totally, like, to me, like, that is a reality that you can live in, right?
Yeah.
But I would argue that a lot of people romanticize that and maybe aren't as...
Yeah, but it goes back to what a lot of people are doing. They're just romanticizing the idea and they're not putting output. There's no output. They're just doing whatever now.
But I think, anyway, but, like, what was I going to say? I totally forgot. I was saying basically that I think that if you find out what you like doing and you get to do that, I think you can, like, you can
do that forever. And you don't have to be super wealthy and make a shit ton of money as long as you really like it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's what I mean. Whereas I think getting the car and the house or whatever, like, all these monetary things, I think are more, they're signs of what people think happiness are, or is.
But you gotta know what the cost is, too.
So that's why they look for that lifestyle, because they think, like, well, those guys seem happy because they front like they're happy because they have the watch and the suit and the car and whatever. But, I mean, like, I would argue that a lot of those people don't know, like, what actual happiness is, because, like, they don't really know what they like doing, you know what I mean? They just work because they think that's what it is, and then they like binge on things because that feels good.
Yeah.
But I mean, what they actually do may not be what they actually like doing. They're probably, I don't know, they're doing some job that they don't actually like doing, but because they have the money, it makes them feel better about themselves.
Yeah, but you know, it's good to be in that position too. Just because it's not what I say is not good to be a starving artist. You know what I mean? Do what you need to do to keep yourself afloat,
Absolutely,
to get to where you really want to be in life, and you can coast, you know, through life for a long time like this, right? You can find your dreams at 50.
I mean, yeah, it really is. It really is what you want.
Yeah, but
it comes down to, like, what kind of person you are and what you can live with. All I'm saying is I would hope that people aren't trying to fulfill that happiness void
with just
based
money.
based on those things, right? But I mean, again, that goes very, like, it goes back to, like, a self-awareness thing. Is like, how well do you know yourself, right? Because I would argue that a lot of people just don't really know themselves that well. like
yeah.
at least like what makes them happy is what I'm saying. Basically, is like when I say know yourself, I basically mean like what makes you happy, like what gets you excited about life, like what do you actually like doing.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas I don't think a lot of people know that. It's kind of like I talked to my mom about this, which was really interesting, and then she was like, because I don't know, I was like, oh, what makes you happy, or whatever, and her life's been really rough, like from a child and stuff like that. So like, when her answer was kind of like, I just feel like I'm not really meant to be like all that happy or whatever in life, and I just found that kind of sad, so I kept prying. And then I was like, well, when's like the happiest time of your life? And she was saying, oh, like when me and my sister were born. And I'm like, well, that's a good indicator of like happiness, at least, is like you like kids. And every time I've seen her with a kid, like a newborn baby or whatever like that, like I can tell like a switch turns on and she's like happy. Right, and that's like a good indicator of like what makes her happy. But it's interesting because I don't think she's ever thought about that very much, of like what makes her happy and whatever, right? Which I just think it's really important, like just in life, to like know yourself to that extent where you know what makes you happy.
Well, there's
right.
There's a little bit of a difference between her age and our age a little bit.
For sure.
Just because for her,
And
I think a lot of it
changed.
was survival for her. You know what I mean? And for, I guess my parents, the same thing. A lot of the lifestyle and like being brought up is just survival. But when survival is not in question, it's not a thing anymore. You know what I mean? And
That's exactly what it is. Definitely, yeah.
And like I don't, if you've ever been homeless or ever been like really had no money, out on the street, nowhere to go. If you ever been in that position, you'll understand like real poverty and like real survival, what it really takes to like be there. And the only reason like we kind of lost now is because survival is not in question.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like if survival was in question and that was the only thing, then you'd be fighting tooth and nail to get out of whatever hole you're in, right? And that's the way it is.
Yeah, I mean, in a lot of ways, I think she is happy in that, like, with that in mind, she's happy in terms of like she's made it because she has she has a family and she has like she's well off, she has a good job and all that stuff, so she's happy in that realm, I guess. But I mean, like, that's obviously comes first, hands down, right? It's like, are you okay, like, just from a survival standpoint, like, can you survive? I get that.
Yeah.
But I mean, for a lot of people that are like us, which now seems kind of trivial because we're whatever spoiled, right? But
not me. I work tooth and nail for everything I have.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, it's not as bad as what you were saying, right? Like when
it's not as bad as like coming off a boat from Vietnam from the war. That's, getting out of there. You know what I mean? Not like that. You know what I mean? But as far as having no money, as far as like no place to stay, I've been there. And it's like I've had to fight like for what I have, man. And it's like I've learned a lot. I've been through a lot. I got a lot of stories, but I don't know. For me, it's just I like getting to know people. Just hearing like where you been, what you're about. You know what I mean? Like where you been? Like what brought you to here?
So are you like living at home now, or are you?
No, I don't live with my parents. I haven't lived with my parents since like 18.
Oh really?
Yeah, 17, 18.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then. I don't know if you wanted to talk about this, but I don't know, like, what do you do? Like, where do you work?
I work across the street. Basically, I work at C2C. We're a division of Premium Brands Holding. Basically, we do seafood processing. So, to give you an idea, all the seafood displays from like the Safeways, from here in BC to Alberta, is all of our product. Right? So, basically, we do fresh seafood and we do frozen seafood. We also have they have a meat side on the other side too, right? So it's just a big food conglomerate.
And how are you liking that?
Honestly, it's like my story is like after like during high school and stuff, like my parents were doing well and everything, but like my father was a gambler, so he gambled everything, and so everything just went to the shitter out the window, right? And bills came, debt came, eventually just things went wild. And at the time, I was like I was in school, I was at Langara, and I was doing two jobs, right? I was working in the malls, and I was working at a call center downtown, but my parents decided to up and leave, just leave, and I'm like going to school and stuff here, and like I got nowhere else to go, right? So I'm just doing whatever just to kind of keep myself afloat, right? And I ended up getting into the actually selling drugs and getting into the drug trade. So I caught a few charges from that and did my time with that, but after getting through and all that stuff and doing time and everything and getting out, and I was looking for a job and just kind of like a place to go. You know what I mean? Like just kind of lost.
And then how old were you when this like around?
Oh, this was like 2011.
So you were...
Yeah, I got charged in 2011. I finished in 2014 serving, so I've been free since then.
So how old were you when all that stuff happened, roughly?
18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23.
Damn, that's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But like just after getting through all of that and like, after getting out, I didn't really have a place to stay. You know what I mean? Because, I don't know anything. You know what I mean? So it's just, I was couch surfing for a long while there and just working odd jobs, right? But eventually I fell into working into the seafood place here, and I've been here for like past 5 years, right? And just working my way up, like literally, just working my way up. I started at like $9-10 an hour, right? And now I'm making like, good money.
Yeah,
I'm making good money now.
That's awesome,
right?
man. Damn. Yeah, no, I had no idea. I only see you at the gym like a couple times, like not even that often, like because I don't work that much now. But that's pretty cool, man. Like, that's a really cool story.
Yeah, like for me, life's been a big roller coaster, but it's like really I like the entire time just getting into like selling drugs in general, just like really the whole entire thing was just about money and just about survival in general.
Makes sense, yeah.
Like if poverty is in question, man, and your survival is in question, you'll do anything to get out of that hole. Like,
definitely, yeah.
You do anything to get out of that hole. And it's like my thinking has always been like a rat in a box. It's like always try to find a way out. And so it's always that way now. Even now with like what I'm doing now, it's like I make good money now, and I can afford it to buy whatever I feel like, essentially, right? Like I can go do whatever I want, essentially, but it's not exactly what I want to do forever. You know what I mean? It's like, it's good money and everything.
It's good to know that, though. Because a lot of people don't,
For me, the number one thing was, like, security and consistency, right? Like, maybe I'm not going to have the job forever, right? Because what people say is, like, maybe you're going to have, like, maybe 2 to 3 major career changes in your life, right? If you're, going for careers. But for me, it's just, I'm a good people person, and I know how to talk to people, but, like, I'm a pretty young guy, and everybody's twice my age, right? So, because I'm the evening manager there, right? So, or evening shift supervisor. So.
So do you know kind of like the direction where you want to head, or like, because you say you don't want to do.
For me, it was a huge thing just falling into that job in general, just to keep myself afloat, right? Because because security and consistency is just the number one thing. And for me, it's like I wanted to get into investing. I wanted to get into like, I really wanted to make money, and money to me was always like security. That's number one. Absolutely. Money is security, just because like, well, money can be used to buy you time, buy you food. You got a place to stay, right? Just general things. When you don't have it, you don't have options all of a sudden, right? And number one thing is I want to have options, and it's good to have the most options. When you have the most options, you have the most time to think about it, right? Because then you can think about how good is that one compared to that one, really, right? You can sit back as opposed to that's the only thing that I can have right now.
No, I get it.
Right? Because beggars can't be choosers.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right, and that's for real.
So right now you're just on that hustle right now?
For me, it's just literally just go to work and hobbies, right? Go to work and hobbies. But I've always wanted to create content. I've always wanted to do something creative, right? Because I've always done like artsy things, right? But I haven't never really made videos or put out stuff, right? I always thought it was interesting.
It's way easier than you think, man. It's
way easier.
Way easier. People think it's like so hard to whatever, but you just have to dick around with it a little bit, and then it's all about the doing, like we were talking about. It's all about doing it, and then you get used to it over time. It's really not that hard. Like, literally, like, video stuff is literally just, there's a bar, and this is your video, and you just cut and rearrange stuff.
Oh.
It's like, super easy. It's super easy.
Okay.
But, like, if you ever want to, like, do stuff, like, you just let me know, man. Like, I'm always down to, like, do stuff with people. Like, try. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that guy wanted to do his podcast on game stuff, and then that girl wanted to do her relationship podcast, whatever. And, like, I'm down to do stuff, but again, like, if you have to be realistic about what's going to happen based on your consistency. When you know that.
Yeah,
like,
I know that.
You know that probably better out of everybody that I've talked to.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
But I think for consistency-wise, it'd be a good idea just to, like, if you really want to hunker down and structure, just put up a schedule on the wall and just commit to one day even.
Well, we do. So we right now we're on Thursday. So that's not. We don't even follow that, but I wrote it for us. But like they don't really care. So I don't know if the camera can see that. It always messes up when I do this, but whatever. Anyway, there's a calendar up there.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, the calendar is only as strong as how much you care about it, right? So here, let's see. There it is. There's the calendar. But but right now we do have like a pretty good 3 days. It's kind of like 2.5 days, which is like Monday we have like a conference call where we just figure out what we're doing that week. Thursday we meet up and do like some light production. So Sim and I will like write the scripts, and then maybe we'll do like a let's play or whatever, which is just let's play just the audio, and then we play a game. It's not like seeing double. We just talk, like narrate the game almost, and like talk, like shoot the shit. And then Saturday's supposed to be like a heavy production day where like we're planning to do the web series, shoot it on Saturdays, and then if we want to do seeing double, we do seeing double. But those are like the 3 kind of like set days, and then throughout the week, like I'll meet up with everybody to like do other stuff. Like Brad and I will edit and stuff like that throughout the week randomly. But those are like the set days: Saturday, Thursday, and then Monday there's the call. But so it's kind of like 2.5 days, I guess. But more, we'll just say 2 days for sure. But I mean, again, things come up, and like I said, again, we talked about this. It's a commitment thing. It's a consistency thing. So I don't know. I didn't know that about you. Well, I didn't really know anything about you before today. Yeah. But that's a really cool story, though, man. We should, I don't know, talk about that more.
Yeah, definitely.
But
how about your story?
I'm like super spoiled. I feel like my parents like moved here when they were like super young. So my dad moved here when he was 10, and my mom moved here when she was 2, and I don't know. I was born here, and I went to school, and I went to university. Like I went to SFU, and then I guess we could start at SFU. I guess where I was kind of like I don't know what I was doing, and then I just kind of went into like I signed up for the engineering program because that's what my dad did, and there's always a lot of like pressure from him, and then I asked my sister how to sign up for courses, and she was like, you just sign up for whatever you want and figure it out. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And then I just took whatever courses. And then in those courses, I took communications, which is what she was doing. And then through communications, there was like a set of courses that was like video stuff. So I learned video stuff through there. Although I did do some video stuff in like grade 10, like a little bit, just because I was really interested in that stuff. And it was for a project anyway. So I like made a video for school in grade 10, like by myself, because it wasn't like required. Actually, no, it was. We had to make a commercial or something. So there's that. But I was always really interested. Like I had a lot of fun with that, like video stuff. So when I found that course in university, it was really awesome. Like the degree itself was really good, but not super related to it, but sort of related, because it wasn't like a video like degree or anything, right? It was just like it's mostly like writing papers and all that stuff.
It's actually warm in here.
It's super warm, right? Yeah. And then I just kind of fell into that, and then that's where I met Zach. And then after I graduated, I got the job here just because I just needed a side job. Because my buddy said he'd hook me up with the job here because he worked here and he doesn't work here anymore. But and then I met Brad because somebody told me, because for the longest time Brad and I would come in the morning and he would get off his graveyard, so I would relieve him in the morning, and then we just never talked for the longest time because we were just like, oh, sup, and then I would hate it. I would hate it when he was on shift because my friend was the other graveyard guy. So I was like, oh, I like it better when my buddy's the graveyard guy rather than this guy I don't even know. And then somebody was like, oh, Brad has like a website for, I can't remember how we were talking about it, but he's like, oh, Brad has like a website for, I'm like, for what? And then he's like, oh, for like games and anime and stuff like that, or no, it was mostly just games and movies. And I was like, I had no idea, because in my head I thought Brat was like I thought he was just kind of like a fuckboy, to be honest with you. Like I thought my impression of him was just some like whatever dude, like I didn't really know him. So then the next day I started talking to him about his website or whatever, and then he told me about like his dream of having like an IGN type of website where there's reviews and game trailers and blah blah blah. And then that's how we started getting into that stuff, and then I said I'd help him with Knick-Knack and all that stuff. And then I brought Zach and Simon because they always like doing like funny comedy stuff and they like making stuff, so we started doing Seeing Double. And then I don't know, did you want me to go into all the other stuff with Knick-Knack and guys making videos? I feel like we kind of talked about that already, but
no, we just keep going.
Well, I mean, like I said, with Knick-Knack, we started with thinking that we were going to be some big IGN thing, which I didn't really agree with, to be honest with you, but it was his thing, right? It was like that was his baby, him and the guy that made the website, so I just was like, well, it's just a good outlet for me, because I didn't really have, because like I said, I always wanted to do stuff, but like I just didn't have an outlet for it, and it's hard to do it when you're kind of on your own and you're up to your own. Like you have to set a schedule for yourself, and then you know what I mean. Like, it's hard when you're only responsible for yourself. Whereas if there's other people involved, you feel responsible to like do stuff for them. Yeah, exactly, right. So it was a good outlet for me. But as things progressed, like I mean, Baines got busy with other stuff, and like I just found that like either I should break off and do my own thing because I don't want to like start running Nignag because it's not mine. Like it just didn't feel like the right thing to do because it's not my thing. So I'd either break off and do my own thing, or well, pretty much that. And then I was talking to them about it, like Brat specifically, and then Brat was saying how we could still do stuff, I guess. But I was just saying like I don't know, it doesn't feel right. Is all I was saying, right? Like, it just like first of all, I don't even like the name. Really, like Nignag's not really the best name. Like I would change the name if I had the choice, and it just didn't. From the beginning, it wasn't my thing because there's so many things that they did before and whatever that just I wasn't involved in. So I'd rather have just started fresh and make a new thing. So I mean, Baines was busy with his stuff, and then Brat and Sim was always like Sim and Zach were always like my friends at the beginning first, and then like they became friends with Brat, but like I think they kind of felt the same way I did, is that like they weren't there at the beginning, and there's a lot of decisions I made that we didn't really agree with, and like Nignag's not the best name, and like also we came out the gates. A big part of it too was that we came out the gates saying like they came out the gates like we're gonna be huge, kind of like feel like they didn't say that, but it felt like that.
Yeah.
Which I didn't like, but like again, it was their thing, right? So I just felt it was better to start fresh. And I mean, so we not like I don't even want to use the word launched, but we started doing stuff under guys making videos at the beginning of this year. I'd say. Well, I mean, obviously in December and all that stuff, but we like, made the page and put the stuff up at the beginning of this month. And again, like the big thing is I don't want to come out the gates like we're like some big brand or we're gonna be something big or whatever. It's just that right now we're just kind of documenting this playground stage of like figuring out what we like doing and all that stuff, so that when and if we like progress forward, it's just a good record to see where we came from. Because people always are interested in that stuff, right?
Yeah,
like I would love to see like Brad Pitt's fucking first audition. Like that would just be interesting. That'd just be an interesting thing to see.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Right? So I mean that's kind of what this is when we're documenting all this stuff, the vlog and all that stuff, and I'm trying to like do a little bit of blogging too, just to keep a record, so that when and if years later when we're doing other stuff or whatever, I can see where we came from and other people can too. Yeah, I don't know.
Kind of like a history channel.
For us,
yeah,
right? For guys making videos.
Guys making videos.
But yeah, man, I don't know. I guess we'll just keep in touch, and I'll let you know when we do stuff. So again, so Thursday. So you're saying you work Sunday to Thursday?
Yeah, I'm free Fridays and Saturdays.
When do you get off on Thursday?
Well, I work evenings, so I'm off at like midnight.
Oh fuck.
Like 1, 2 sometimes.
Because we could, I don't know, we'll figure something out. Saturdays for sure. You can come by Saturdays. Because I was saying you could do Saturdays and Thursdays like we do, but midnight's kind of rough.
Yeah.
But Saturdays for sure. Yeah, I don't know, we'll figure something out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good to talk to you, man.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we were just looking for like games and stuff. I'm always like playing games and stuff.
Yeah.
So
what kind of games do you play?
Like I got a PS4. Basically anything that I want. Like.
Which is like what kind of stuff do you like?
Like I've seen you guys play Dark Souls. I play Dark Souls too. Like
I played Dark Souls 3 like 3 times.
For me, like I didn't know anything about Dark Souls, but the first time I got into like the Dark Souls series was from Bloodborne, and because Bloodborne came before Dark Souls 3, and like the first time I got into anything from software, I didn't know anything about them. But I always like RPG games, and I got into that, and I was like, it was really hard but really rewarding, right? I really enjoyed that. I like RPG games in general, but I also like action games, like shooting games, just generally anything and everything, right? But like anything that I basically want to try, I just get it and try it, right?
So what are you playing right now?
Oh, right now, recently I got back into World of Warcraft, and that was like, I played that like when I was in high school, like a long time ago, probably like 2005, when I first started, and like I got back into my account, and it was like I just for fun to see how long it's been since I actually played, and it was like 3 years, and I think the time before that it was like a 7-year.
Was it easy to get into though?
It's just easy. It's a fun game.
Yeah,
right?
because I played a little bit of Guild Wars, but I I just don't. I don't know. It just takes so much to like get. I didn't even get to end game. You know what I mean? So it's like I should have at least got to end game, but I didn't.
For me, it's like when I play, it's like I don't really have a specific goal in what I want to do. It's just like I'm playing just for fun, just to experiment. And like for me, generally when I play games, I like storytelling. Right, I love a good story. Like The Last of Us was a really good game because really good story, right? But it'd be cool if we can link up on Saturdays because we can always put out new content because I'm always
That's awesome, man. I'm always down to fucking like do stuff with people. Yeah, man. That's one thing that like I'm just like fiending for, I guess, but also I'm like shy because I don't like meeting new people. Like usually, like old me at least. Old me is very like.
It's what I'm finding every single day. It's more and more important to network and to meet people and to be just more outgoing. Yeah. Just you know what I mean, like, and it's so easy because I work a heavy job. You know what I mean, and like and for anybody else who works, say that 9 to 5 job or has a career, I totally understand it is difficult. But we all have lives to live. We all have to have some fun, right? And it's like I've always enjoyed video games. Like regardless of age or anything like that, I've always enjoyed it. Like I don't care what anyone thinks. It's a fun pastime, right? And video games isn't everything that I do, right? I have other hobbies too, but I like experimenting and just trying out different things because I don't know what I like. Right, and if I don't like it, I'll learn real fast.
Exactly, yeah.
Right, and that's the thing. It's like eating bad food.
Yeah,
right. It's like eating bad food. You'll know a couple times, but maybe it'll grow on you, maybe not. Right. Yeah. But that takes time. Right. It comes with age.
But yeah, no, I was saying I've been fiending for like other people to like work with and stuff because I mean like I said, Zach, I totally understand with like everybody's situation. I understand. Like we talked about this, right? It's like how Brad like has very little time to himself, and then Zach has his own project. Same thing with Brad, right? Like I can see why it's difficult to meet up, but it's also like for me it's a little bit demoralizing sometimes. It's kind of like I want to do like today, right? Like I want to do stuff, but like nobody's free, so it's kind of like I guess it's just me then, right? And it's just kind of like. I'm hoping to meet more people that I can do stuff with, which is cool that you're down to do stuff on Saturdays.
Or just be open to just meeting people in general. Just ask.
No, yeah, I mean I am. Like I was even thinking of I feel like a good way to like.
Well, you work front desk here, man. You meet probably a ton of people who come in. Yeah. Right? Just anyone and everyone. Honestly, anyone and anyone from any age group. Honestly, just ask them. Hey,
no, you're right.
You got any funny hobbies?
There was this guy that I met that he does he works. What school? It's some video effects school, and he does video effects and stuff like that. So I talk to him about stuff sometimes. So that's really cool. Because I was saying like eventually we could like collab and do something when I want to do something more like cinema like very like filmy with like because he showed me like he moved like the camera's moving over this pond. Or whatever, and then he like put little lanterns on, and then he changed the sky, and it like looks very like real, like that. He's a video effects artist.
Cool.
Right, so that guy's really cool. But I mean, I think a good like there's networking people like around you and stuff like that. But I think also reaching out to people that are in places where you might kind of want to go, and then just offering the value and see if you can like work with them somehow. Like, I don't know if you know Linda Productions.
Yeah, I've seen her. Yeah.
So I'm just, like. I think her stuff's really like good. Like I think it could be better, but like again, like I'm not like I don't do much of what she does anyway. Like we do a little bit of skits, but like I don't know, right? So I think it'd be interesting to like see like I feel like I should probably like outreach like and like message her and be like, hey, I'm down to work and do something, whatever, right? Just to see, because I'm just really curious about what her process is, just because she's in a place where she has sort of made it in a way, right? Like she has a much bigger following and she makes videos consistently and whatever. So I'm just curious what her process is.
Why don't you just do it then?
No, I will. I will.
Just do it, just to reach out, just to see, right? I mean, you're doing it just to learn, and this is all experimenting, quite literally. So just go learn something, right?
No, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, for me, it goes back to everything that I know. Is just I didn't know that I actually like the job that I do because I'm learning everything, right? And like there's tons of seafood, like just tons of fish I've never seen before. A lot of tropical fish I've never seen before. And like coming from as a young kid growing up, I've always like seen myself as a know-it-all. I know everything. You know what I mean? But after just coming with age, I don't know anything.
Exactly.
Right? And it's just like.
Yeah.
Damn, I don't know a damn thing. I better start trying out some things.
And that's like the first. I feel like that's super important. That's like the first step, right? Is to realize you don't know anything, and that's where we're
young
right?
too. You know what I mean? And essentially, it's just I never feel age at all.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like I'm always the same guy, just, you know, maturing a little bit more throughout the years.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it. But I still feel like I don't, you know, still haven't done enough yet.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's always the feeling. I don't know if it's ambitious or just, you know, in my hubris, but I always just feel that way, like I haven't done enough.